Hi friends, Ruel Gaviola here, and welcome to Tabletop tonight. This is another one of my gift guides. I've been doing them for the last couple of months, and this is the one that's going to get you through the rest of the holidays because these are my top 10 board game stocking stuffers. Yep, we were really close to the big day. I hope that you've done all your holiday shopping, but if not, here are some games that'll give you some clues as to, or here are some games that you can get for the last minute items on your list here. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Food Chain Island. This one will obviously fit in your stocking because it is a game from Button Shy Games. Those are the ones that fit in the wallet size. Oh gosh, this game is fantastic. It's a Scott Alms game. I'm a huge fan of Scott Alms. He's done the Tiny Epic series of games. He's done some stuff with Button Shy. This one, Food Chain Island, it is a solo game, but I think you can play cooperatively if you just, you and your partner or whoever just want to hang out and just, talk about it. But it's a really simple game. I love it. You set this grid of cards, 4x4, 16 cards. And what you're trying to do is you're going to move cards from one card to another to eat the different animals. But once you move a card, it's going to trigger an effect, and that effect will, you have to do it, and basically you keep going until you cannot do the effects. If you can get down to like three or fewer cards, you've won the game. The ultimate goal is to have it all in one stack, which I think I've done like maybe twice out of the many times I've played it. But it's such a cool challenge. Fun little art. It's just, animals on animals basically, and it's a great little puzzle type game, and that's why I think it'd be a perfect stocking stuffer at number 10. Food Chain Island. Okay, let's move on. The next game is number 9, and this is a game that most of us, I don't know if most gamers know about this, but they know about the original game, number 9, Monopoly. This is Monopoly Deal. This video I just found on YouTube, but Monopoly Deal takes everything you love about Monopoly, which is collecting those sets of properties, right? But a lot of players don't want to do roll and move for like a couple of hours. This distills Monopoly down to about a 20 to 30 minute game perfectly. You have everything you want about Monopoly. You have, as you can see there, you got the money that you got to play for the properties. You're collecting sets of properties. First one, I think it's 3 sets, will win the game, but it's hand management. It's so much better than the original game. And I think I've bought like 3 copies of this. I had one for myself. I gifted it. I bought another one for myself and gifted that. Then I bought one for I think I still have that 3rd copy. But I've, given it away because it's always a fun hit, especially with people who, most gamers, they know someone who is a non-gamer that has played Monopoly. And if you have those people, people in your life, and if you're trying to get them to join, the cult or the hobby, I think this is a great way to do it. Play Monopoly Deal, and they'll say, "Hey, this is just like Monopoly, but we don't have to sit here for 4 hours or whatever." Now, having said that, the original Monopoly, if you play by the rules, it usually does. It's not going to take that long. There are some rules, and we did this on TLN Tabletop Live Network, where we did an entire weekend playing Monopoly by the rules, and for the most part we could finish the game within 2 hours. Check out the rules, folks. But if you want Monopoly in a much shorter time frame without the rolling the dice and stuff in a hand management game, Monopoly Deal, that's for you. That's why it's my number 9 on stocking stuffers for this year. Let's move on to number 8. This one I really enjoy. This one is Similo, a cooperative game. And what you're doing, you have a deck of cards here. This one that I'm playing here, I think that is like historical figures or whatever. And what you're trying to do, it's a cooperative game. One player is going to, they're going to randomly find out one character that everyone else needs to guess. So you mix up the cards, and then you're going to use cards as your clues. You play a card, you're going to say this is a lot similar to the person you're trying to guess, or different. And based on what you have there, you're going to try to figure out, okay, what's similar about this card to the one we're trying to guess. You look at the tableau of cards. Hey, this one has gray hair. Maybe this one also has gray hair. Maybe that's him or her or them. And then maybe this one has a blue background. Oh, this one has a blue background. Or this person has a beard. This one doesn't. They said it's opposite. So really clever, and so it's a fun cooperative game. Another one that fits neatly in your stocking is just a small deck of cards. And what's cool about Similo, they have different decks. So you have like historical figures. Fables was another one, all like Aesop fables, and you can mix and match, which is really cool. Really enjoy this game. I think I have 3 decks so far. There's a bunch more. I've got 3 decks, and we like to mix and match in my family. So, Similo, a wonderful game. Perfect stocking stuffer at number 8. Moving right along. Moving. Let's go to number 7. Number 7 stocking stuffer is Timeline. Now, this video, that if you're watching on video, this is actually Timeline Challenge, the board game version. But you can still see the little cards. And this is why this is a stocking stuffer. The little cards come in a small tin. I believe you can get this at Target. At least I know that you used to be able to. But the tin itself is just the cards. And what you're doing, they all have events. And some of the events are, you know, on one side has the event. So, for instance, the invention of the printing press, you know, and then the other side has the same thing, but it has the date of the year. So whenever the year was for the invention of the printing press, was it 1500 something? You're going to put that card down, and then you draw another card, and the player has to decide, is that before or after? So if we had the printing press, which is like 1500s, 1600s, whatever, and then another card with landing on the moon, 1960, right? 1968 or something? You know, are you going to put that before or after the printing press? Obviously after. But the game gets progressively harder because as you put cards there, you keep expanding. And then when you draw a card, you're going to have to put it in between certain cards. And if you're in between, you're right. If you're in between, you are wrong. You take that card out and you have to draw another one. The object of the game is to get rid of the cards in your hand. I think you start with like 4 or 5, depending on player count. It's a fun game. Michelle and I, we love the original. The board game is cool too. Don't get me wrong. I like the board game because it adds different ways to do these things. But I think at its heart, the pure base game, which is just that little deck of cards, are like Ticket to Ride size. Oh, I think it's wonderful. And we always enjoy playing this. And I think you would too. Again, another great stocking stuffer. Number 7, Timeline. Okay, that's a great game. Here's another fantastic one. Number 6, Sunset Over Water. Now, specifically the Pocket Edition. I could have put Herbaceous here as well, but I believe Herbaceous is on another list. Folks, if this is the first time you're watching my list, you can find all my lists at the link below the show notes. I have them on BGG and here on YouTube. This is the 10th list, so every single list has a different game for different subjects, topics, or whatever. That's going to be 100 games you could take a look at as you get your holiday shopping done. Sunset Over Water, the Pocket Edition, is the one I chose for the list, though, because Pocket Edition is tiny. Seriously, it's like a button shy size it's like wallet size, like a small wallet. But these actually have boxes, and there's like a lot more components, and it's the actual game is just shrunk down to a really manageable size. Now, I do have, if I have some reservation about this, it'd be for anyone that has vision issues, because things are shrunk down. So even though they have the same iconology and everything else, you know, there are some that, you know, may be a little tough to figure out. But, you know, you can always play the original is not that bad. It's not really that big. It's just regular size cards. But I just picked this Pocket Edition because I love these games that, you know, games that are solid especially by Steve Finn and Pencil First games. They're always a winning combination. I love them. Steve Finn does these games that are so my jam. They're like 20 to 30 minutes long, full of great tense decisions, interesting gameplay, but you don't have to spend all night to play them. And Sunset Over Water is a wonderful one. Has art by Beth Sobel, one of my favorite artists. You can see there that just the landscapes. And that's why I was really hesitant to put it on this, but I really like the gameplay. But the reason why I love the art so much, I want to see the big version. But to be able to play this on like a small space, I'm all about it. Fun fact, I have the Herbaceous one. I played that on a plane one time on coming back from Gen Con 2 years ago. And as I was playing it, the young man next to me got really curious and he asked me about it. I taught it to him. We played on the plane. We played like 3 games. At the end of the flight, I gave it to him. I was like, you know what? Hey, you got to take it, buddy. You know, you earned it. You know, he's like, no. He wasn't really into board games. And that's what I love about these Pocket Editions. You can do stuff like that where, hey, let's get more people into the hobby, play a small game, and just give it to them, folks. So I do want to thank, friends at Pencil First Games for gifting me my copy. And that's why I think it's a perfect stocking stuffer. And number 6, Sunset Over Water, the Pocket Edition. Okay, can you hear the pugs in the background? Those are my pugs, Meeple and Mookie. They're going, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to continue with the list. Number 5 is Village Green. Wow. Village Green, very, very excellent, just an excellent game. This is a game, another hand management game, but I really like this one because Pierre Sylvester does some really interesting stuff in his game designs. If you've played The King is Dead or Bora Bora, he's doing some excellent work. And Village Green, and this one, folks, you're creating a garden. You're trying to be the best garden in the neighborhood. But what you're doing is you're building a tableau. And what's interesting is the cards on the top corner row and on the column on the left, those are scoring cards. You're going to choose which scoring cards you're going to play, but you're also playing in the middle. You're building a tableau of your trees and plants and whatnot and statues and trying to figure out how am I going to score best. It's always tough because you can't always put the cards you want where they're supposed to go because there are certain restrictions. They have to be orthogonally adjacent. They have to be like similar color and or type. So good. It's a puzzle, but it's done right. And for the size, it'll fit in the stocking, no problem. It's great. That's why it's my number 5, Village Green. Okay, continue on here. Let's go on to number 4. Oh wow. Okay, number 4. I forgot about this one. This is Innovation from actually it's our friends Amy and Maggie. It's their video, Thinker Themer. Innovation, folks, is a game by Carl Chuggett, and he is known for Matinai and the big one, Glory to Rome, and it's all about multi-use cards. And this one is a tableau builder, but boy, oh boy, it's so good. You're trying to constantly build you're building, your civilizations, like a Civ game, but in a card game form. And as you're doing it, you're taking cards, you're trying to get majorities in some, and majorities in other, and they're going to start chaining. And things start chaining. That's when this game gets fun. All the combinations. I played this one with my buddy Daryl a few times, and we love this one. Now, there is take that in this game. You could totally get hosed in this game. And you can hose each other, or you can hose both of you at the same time. And it's funny because I think the card is like nuclear war or something. It's at the very end of the game. It's basically blow everything up, and you almost start over. It's hilarious. Daryl and I played that card. We're like, what the? But it was so much fun. I love this game. It's one that I don't think I'd recommend it for new gamers. There's a bit of a learning curve here. But for gamers who have been in the hobby for a while, this one is a good one. Innovation. Highly recommend, especially if you like that multi-use card thing and just trying to figure out how you can chain things together. So good. Want to shout out Amy and Maggie for putting that up on their channel. Let's move on. My number 3 stocking stuffer. I had to have put at least one Christmas game on here, right? And this is one you can see my buddy Daryl and I played. Number 3 is Holly Jolly. This is a card game from Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchback, two of my favorite designers. When they get together, do stuff like Stellar and other wonderful card games. This is the product of their combined excellence in game design. And what I like about this, Holly Jolly, it's not quite as complex as Stellar, but it's complex enough, and it's cool. It's just look at it. You see that at going to a holiday party, most non-gamers want to play because it's beautiful. It looks like a Christmas tree present. It's very, very cartoony, very inviting. But once you start playing it, you're going to see that there's a little more that meets the eye here. I mean, it's not a transformer, but it is something that it's surprisingly, I wouldn't say call it deep, but deeper than just a light set collection game. You can choose whether to go lights or I think it's tinsel, and you're trying to collect either you're doing different types of set collection, and you're going to get the toys and so forth. And there's it's just really clever. And there's some math involved because you're trying to take the cards. They each have a number, and you're going to add those up. That's going to determine where you can pull from and so forth. It's a neat little game, folks. Holly Jolly. I played, I got it, was it last year or the year before? I was going to say I played every holiday season, which is one so far since I've gotten it. But hey, I'm playing it again this season. So there's 2 holiday seasons in a row. I'm going to play it. Definitely recommend Holly Jolly. That's why it's number 3, stocking stuffer. Okay, moving on. I've got 2 left here, and both of these are big time hits with my friends and family. Number 2 is No Thanks. And No Thanks is one of the great card-based games that is so easy to get to the table, and I introduced it to so many different people, and I played it with a bunch of different types of gamers and non-gamers. Always a hit. It has the main mechanism. It's really the clever reverse auction, What is a reverse auction? Glad you asked, Ruel. A reverse auction is basically, there's going to be a card there that is up for grabs. If you want it, you just take it. But in the reverse auction, if you don't want it, you put a chip on there. And then it's going to keep going around. People are going to keep adding chips. And eventually someone's going to break down and take it. Now, those chips help you out in future rounds, of course, because then you could pass on stuff. But usually you're going to be stuck with a high card. So the cards are like 1 through 35 or 36, I believe. And the object of the game is to get the lowest score possible. So as you get cards, like in this example, there's a 10, there's a 28, that's 38 points. You're probably going to lose with that. But if you notice, there's an 18, 17, or 16 or whatever. If you get a consecutive run of cards, you only have to score the lowest. So 18, 17, 16, you only have 16 points. So there's that push your luck element. Like right there in the video example, I think that's Dan of Game Boy Geek. Everyone's trying to avoid that number 29 card, but someone has a 28 card. They'll take the 29 because they know they don't have to add the 29 and 28. They're just going to score the 28. And that's what makes No Thanks so clever, you know, because do you push your luck, try to get those chains of cards so you can start eliminating cards? Or do you just, you know, and then how to use your chips, you know, do you hoard them until you know, really want a card, or, you know, there's ways to like play where you put a chip knowing that you're going to get that card back with more chips. So good, folks, and it's a winner. It's I love it because it's usually around $10 on Amazon. But you know, support your local game store if you can, of course. But for those of you that aren't close to a game store, Amazon works for $10. Great game. That is No Thanks at number 2. I'm gonna hydrate real quick because I need to talk about my number 1 stocking stuffer. One of my all-time favorite games, period, is Tiny Epic Galaxies. Now, we had a Scott Almes game kick this thing off with Food Chain Island. We're going to close it with another Scott Almes game. So I love his design, especially his solo designs. Tiny Epic Galaxies can be played 1 to 4 players. It is a, excuse me, it is a game of dice manipulation, dice chucking, set collection, and I just love it. Well, for me, what makes this game is the little follow mechanism that Scott has incorporated. He's used it in a few of his designs, where the active player takes an action with their dice. Another player can spend, in this case, culture to follow that action. So you spend one of your resources, whatever the active player is doing, you can do it on your board as well. I love that because it keeps everyone involved in the game. And I just think it's really interesting because you may not have the dice you need on your turn, but as long as you have some of that culture resource, if someone rolls better than you, you can take advantage of that. So you're going to be moving ships around. You're trying to, you know, grab planets. It's a race to, I think, 21 points. Whoever gets that. You do have secret missions as well as you can do. Oh boy, I love this. And the solo game is fantastic. It's so easy to implement, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. And it's a little bigger. It's still tiny. It's epic. A little bigger than, say, No Thanks, which is basically a deck of cards. But Tiny Epic Galaxies, it fits in the stocking just fine, and it's a wonderful game. I love it at all player counts. I love it at solo. You're watching the video, I'm soloing it right there, and it's always going to be an evergreen title for me. I love it so much. I try to get people to play it all the time. It is wonderful. A lot of the Tiny Epic series games are great, but this one by far is my favorite. That's why it's number 1, Tiny Epic Galaxies. And that is my list, friends. Thank you for joining me. Those are my top 10 board game stocking stuffers. I hope that you get shopping done for the holidays. And even if you didn't, use the list here and also in the links below. You can check out all my lists and use them for any shopping excuse or any occasion. But, you know, buy yourself a game too while you're at it. Thanks again for joining me. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Bye.